So Tim Brando is going to drop his top 10, and it's an interesting way he does it. It's not like, hey, here's my preseason top 10.
Okay.
We'll get into that, but I'm sure everybody's going to have a very rational and measured reaction to it.
Oh, for sure. There won't be any comments on Twitter.
Odds are, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we walk out at the end and Texas fans are picketing the show. It's like Ben and them. It's like we get picketed and protested for totally different reasons than anyone else in the Daily Wire. Has nothing to do with anything political. It's like, hey man, I said Texas ain't gonna finish top 3 in the Big 12. Not that I said that, but Timmy B, man, it's.
I can't wait for him to come in here.
Nah, me either. I'm just glad I didn't come out of my garage this morning and somebody was standing there.
Did that get resolved?
Yeah, I didn't. I just told Reed. Then it's like, what did Away From Superstar say? I want to go over there and be like, hey, guess what, neighbor? I just invented a dance move. It's called the Move On With Your Life.
Is that what you told him?
Oh, it's like that today.
That was funny, dude.
Huh?
It's like that today.
It's going to be that
Can I not laugh?
It's that kind
Can
of
I not laugh?
Wednesday.
You know, I
Can I
come in
not laugh?
here, I try
All
to be
right.
positive.
You know what?
As long as you're not a trends guy.
No, that's... What'd you just call me? The Pac-12 proposes a new media deal with Apple, and surprise, it's trash. The Mets trade Justin Verlander back to the Astros at the trade deadline. We're going to talk about that. And Tim Brando releases his top 10 college football list with us today. I'm Jake Crain, and welcome to Crain & Company. Now, preseason polls are like marriages in the Kardashian family. They really mean absolutely nothing. And that's why after ACC Media Days, when Clemson got 30 votes more than FSU to win the league, I don't think Noles fans should really be that upset. And if you're a fan of the boys down in Tallahassee, in fact, you should probably be way more worried about the Week 1 matchup against another potential champion in LSU. Now, there is, however, a huge bright side for both teams going into this game. And that's why I am dubbing Florida State versus LSU as the biggest insurance game of 2023. And I'm going to get into the reasons why. And even though there will be a winner and a loser, you could view this game as somewhat of a win-win regardless of which team you're rooting for. Now, that may sound a little strange, I know, but let's run this thought experiment out a little bit. We both know both of these teams have their eyes set on a college football playoff berth and a possible national championship. So each snap, each play, each game is incredibly valuable. On one hand, the winner of this matchup pretty much buys themselves a loss during the year. Now for Florida State, that could come at Clemson, possibly in the ACC championship game. For LSU, you could see that at Bama or against Georgia, possibly in the SEC championship game. And there's some roadblocks along the way as well. But the momentum will obviously catapult you into what should be a tough conference slate if you're able to win, especially for LSU. And it will also give the winning team more confidence than Matthew McConaughey on a night in sorority row. Now, a loss here also doesn't ruin your season like other losses would for other teams at the beginning of the year. Whichever team drops this game will probably have to run the table the rest of the way unless they get lucky on the periphery, and that includes the conference championship game. So the needle must be threaded even tighter if you drop the opener. That's true, but it's also doable. Now, this game's being played during Week 1, which is going to feel like light years away once we get to the end of the regular season. And the last major reason that this game should be sponsored by an insurance company, Alpha, State Farm, any of them, is that it doesn't affect your ability to reach the conference championship game if you lose, obviously because neither one of these teams are in the same conference. All of your conference goals remain intact regardless. So if there was ever such thing as a good loss, this would be it. Now, assuming each team has the year that most of us think they will, a loss doesn't kill your chance at your one big chance. Now, we both know these teams and fan bases want to win, and that's how it should be. Participation trophies are for losers, and they're super lame. But the reality of the situation is while it's a massive matchup, it isn't a season killer. and goes to show you why scheduling these big-time early season games is beneficial and not nearly the risk that some think it is. The greatest irony is that while the hate will be turned up high between these two programs before and during the game, the minute this game concludes, they will become each other's biggest fans. Because the better the other team looks down the stretch, the better your team will look in front of the committee. So kudos to each one of these programs for having the guts to schedule a big-time opponent early. And who knows, it could be the game that saves you late. I'm bringing my co-host, former Michigan quarterback and average lunch aficionado, David Cohn, and my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver and, other stuff.
You do other stuff.
Other good things. I like to paint.
You have never painted anything.
I'll be in my room painting.
Certain things.
Certain things.
Yeah,
Play tummy sticks?
taking it with
Yeah. It's called Celebration. Guys, lot of great early season matchups. I'm not going to talk week 0, week 1, because I'm not. Technically, this game should be week 2, but I'm not going to go down this road. But you think about it from a fan's perspective. A lot of fans want to jump to, oh my God, we have a huge non-conference game early that if we lose, it's going to ruin our season. And we haven't even gone to the 12-team yet. This is even truer when we go to the 12-team playoff. But this is one of those games when you play it early like this, and I think you could put Alabama and Texas in this bucket as well, where if you lose, you're not out of it. So is it really that big of a risk? We're not even talking about who's going to win the game. It's going to be tight, like a toiga. But it's not nearly the asteroid coming to hit planet season that some people make it out to be.
This is my favorite part of college football. Every week matters, including week 1.
Yeah.
Matters. Like the very first game of the season in Major League Baseball is not going to determine, a playoff spot, right? Same really with the NFL, even though weird things can happen late. You can look back to the first game, sure. But in college football, the very first week matters. And it is possible that the loser of this game is kept out of the playoff scenario because of this loss. But you make great points here that, one, it happened so early in the season, and the late losses in the college football season matter so much more than the early losses. And, also on that, we're talking about teams that are going to have really solid seasons here, from my perspective. So on the Florida State side of things, if you lose this game, I think you have to end up running the table.
Without a doubt, because you're in the ACC.
You really do. But that could happen, and with a 4-team college playoff format, you can still make the playoffs even after losing the opening week, where that game still mattered a lot. On the LSU side of things, I believe if you lose this game, you do have to win the SEC championship, but you could lose another one along the way, because I think the SEC champion is going to get in the college football playoff no matter what, even if they end up having 2 losses. But this is why when Blaine and I made the top 10 list of non-conference matchups for the season, this was number 1, even above Alabama and Texas, I believe, because we're going to find out so much early here, even in the first week of the season, as to how the playoff, the college football playoff could shape up with this game.
Yeah, without a doubt. And playing in the Southeastern Conference, obviously, it's like the extra insurance on top of the insurance. Because, look, LSU last year, they had, 3 losses going to the SEC championship game? And we were talking about if they beat Georgia, they're going to be in. Right, so but
that one got trickier with the Texas A&M loss.
It did. Right. It did get trickier with it, but I still think there was a shot that they would have got in. LSU, if they would have beaten Georgia, because Georgia would have got in last year too, regardless. But Blaine, when you look at Florida State, right, and we look at the ACC, Clemson. I think Clemson got the most preseason votes because they're playing Florida State at home. But when I look at these two teams together, because Clemson still got to prove it to me on the offensive line and at the skill position. And if you look at what Florida State added with Jaheim Bell and Keon Coleman from Michigan State with Jordan Travis, this is a Florida State team that if they beat LSU, they could run the table and end up vying for being number 1 overall if Georgia would have somehow fall maybe in the SEC championship game or in a regular season game that we didn't see coming.
No, 100%. You think of Florida State and Clemson, what do you really think? You think of SEC teams. Especially Florida State from the depth standpoint on both sides of the ball up front, it's going to be really good. Skill position-wise, where would you lean? I would lean Florida State.
100%.
Quarterback room, where would you lean? Right now,
Florida State.
You haven't seen enough from Cade. Clemson deserve the number 1 votes just because who Dabo Swinney is and what he does with his program. Especially the year that they had last year, what wasn't good enough, and hell, they had a phenomenal year. But Florida State right now, and I don't think it doesn't matter how you lose this game. It doesn't matter how you go back to the Oregon-Georgia game. Oregon got beat 49-30. right? If they win out, I mean, you're in.
Yeah.
You're in. I think you lost a late one to Oregon State and you lost to Washington by 4, which a Pac-12 slate's not great. But right now, it's understandably, I think Florida State's a better team, but I got why Clemson got all these votes. It's going to be a phenomenal game. I don't think anybody's going to run anybody out of the building when it comes to the Florida State-LSU game. But yeah, like you can lose this game and be fine. It's no matter what. You can get beat by 50 in this game and be fine.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, remember how much that hurt Oregon losing to Georgia that bad in the opener a season ago? Now, we did talk down the stretch. Remember, they kind of creeped their way back in before that loss. Who was it to? Washington?
Yeah, by 4 on the road.
But kind of creeped their way back in like, oh, if they ran the table, could they still make the college football playoff? But the way they lost, I think, mattered so much.
It does. I don't think that's nearly the deciding factor on who you lost to, though. Right? If we're, and I know you're not saying that, but I think if we're ranking what hurts you the most to what hurts you the least, the team that you lost to, if you're looking at it from a positive standpoint, I think saying, man, yeah, you got killed by Georgia, but Georgia's the best team in college football, probably going far and away. If you're LSU and you beat Florida State, and Florida State goes and beats Clemson on the road, and then they go and win the ACC Conference Championship game, Florida State, I think, is going to be in the playoff because I think the Pac-12 is going to cannibalize each other. I don't think we're going to get 2 out of the Big Ten. But if you're LSU and you beat Florida State, and Florida State goes on and does that, and you lose to Alabama on the road, and let's say Alabama wins the West, and then they go and lose to Georgia, let's say, in the SEC Championship game. And I know there's 19 different ways that you can play this out. But if you play it out that way, if you end up having a 2-loss Alabama team and a 1-loss LSU team, and LSU did lose on the road to Alabama, that Florida State win, I think, would catapult LSU over Alabama into the playoff with that 1 loss.
So then on the ACC side of things, let's say, so in that scenario, Florida State has 1 loss, okay, right, because they lost to LSU in the opener. But then let's say they go on the road and beat Clemson, and that's Clemson's only loss, and Clemson takes care of the rest of their business, beats Notre Dame, everything like that. Then you're talking about 2 ACC teams with 1 loss as well.
That play in the ACC championship.
The same exact thing could happen in the Big Ten because we mentioned it yesterday.
See,
not only with Wolverines and Buckeyes and possibly Penn State, but maybe something like Wisconsin on the West, something like that. That's without even talking about the other.
I think this year when you look around, it's not like the last couple of years where we've looked at Georgia and said, okay, best team in college football, right? It's Georgia and everybody else. This year, when you look around, there's so many questions at the top. I think the parity is at an all-time. We may have, at the end of the season, this could be the hardest decision going into a 12-team playoff year the next year, last year, the 14 playoff, the hardest decision that the committee has ever had to make when it comes
That'd be good for the game.
It's going to be great for the game. I'm so excited to see it, and I'm ready for kickoff. We want to know what you think. Is there another game out there that you would dub the biggest insurance game of the season? And look, to be honest with you, it doesn't have to be early in the year. I just think it helps because it's early in the year, just like anything, just like in any other sport where you're having to use a committee to get in. Remember, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We got Tim Brando coming on as well. We're going to get to the Booster Club. But first, you can see I got my tumbler here, right? I got my backup coffee. You need it, my Garrett Nussmeier, okay? In case something happens to the first one, right here. All right, my Max Johnson if Connor Wegman wins the job at LSU. But if you're a coffee drinker in the morning like we are, there's one brand that I'm telling you, they are the most dominant brand. We talked about parity in college football. There is no parity when it comes to coffee. That's our friends over at Black Rifle. All right, we know summer's in full swing. You don't always have time also to brew coffee the traditional way each morning. That's why you need to check out Black Rifle Coffee's ready-to-drink cans. All right, this is a hurry-up, no huddle of coffee. Here we go. Let's go. Tempo.
Tempo.
NASCAR.
Tempo.
NASCAR, let's get ready to snap it.
Pongo.
That's exactly right. If you don't know what that is, grow up. Black Rifle Coffee, it's also veteran-founded. All right, these guys give back. They're a huge part of the community, and you need to stop running out of coffee and sign up for one of their coffee club subscriptions as well.
Do it now.
All right, trust us. Save money and drink America's coffee. Go to blackriflecoffee.com. All right, and then use our promo code BOOSTER. That's BOOSTR at checkout for 10 to STER for 10% off your one-time purchase, our first coffee club order. That's blackriflecoffee.com. Promo code BOOSTER for 10% off. You can also find it in grocery stores and convenience stores, but why not just go online? Helps us, helps you, helps America, helps Black Rifle Coffee. What are you holding right there, Blaine?
Gunship.
What are you not holding?
L's.
That was a Flaming Dragon brew coffee. God,
Oh, well, no, that's
Where
that's
are
in the
you?
works.
It's in the works?
Yeah, we can't talk about it legally. Yeah.
Okay.
Flaming Pumpkin, though. Flaming Pumpkin, Headless Horseman's roast.
That makes
Don't
you
get
angry,
mad. This
Blaine?
is pumpkin spice.
I want to see you get real mad.
This doesn't step on your turf at all. Dragon.
Let's get to the booster club. We got to get stuff. We got to get in here.
Yeah, let's get in here. Let's go to Jimbo Eagle, who can also fly. Given Michael No's mention of Biloxi on your recent video with him, $10 dono, by the way. I think he actually may be onto something for a sports franchise. What say y'all? Biloxi and Nashville expansion MLB franchise.
Biloxi already has a minor league baseball team. I know because I helped build the stadium. It was one of the summer jobs that I had. The Shuckers, I think. That's what it is.
And no one can ever take that experience from you.
No one can. It was the worst. I hated it. It was so hot. Look, Nashville can handle an MLB team by themselves. By the way, I heard on backstage, Matt Walsh said he believes in dragons.
Yeah, he did. He said, what if there... Well, actually, it was Ben
Really?
said, what if there was a dragon right outside the studio here? I would have to provide proof. And I was thinking, we could give you proof right now.
We have a dragon.
We
What
have
do
a
you got?
dragon.
Like, come on. Like,
Matt
here
was
he is.
really a dragon with you every day.
Yeah, right next to you.
Like every day. So.
Yeah. All right, what else we
Go
got?
to Caleb Miller, $5 donation. David, the Scherzer trade must feel good for a month-long Rangers fan, such as yourself.
Oh, it does feel good. It does feel good. And we're going to get into the
Yeah, we're
whole
gonna get into
MLB
that,
trade
too.
situation. But yeah, let's just say Rangers going for it all.
Let's go to Nathan Johnson, $10 donation. Nathan,
Nay.
thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning to you, sir. I went to my first Braves game last time, the new stadium, and witnessed Strider absolutely dominating show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
David played that music. Hashtag keep chopping.
on it.
Nathan, he's a Rangers fan.
Yeah. Don't buy into the Rangers fan hype. Did you go to the Battery, number one? And number two, I would love to go watch Spencer Strider pitch in person. I would
He still got the stash? Is he
I think so. Yeah, oh, yeah. He's rocking
Part
the
of
stat.
his-
He is. Like, he just got done looting with a bunch of pirates, then he goes out and just strikes out 9.
Yeah.
Love it. Let's go to Brad David, the man with 2 first names, $5 donation.
Be rad.
All right. With Georgia and Michigan both having a weak schedule, which one has a better chance to go undefeated in the regular season?
We play ECU week 1.
Yeah, okay. Well, I want Brad.
No coach.
I get what Brad's saying, and I like using the term weak or lighter instead of easy. I don't think when you play in the Big Ten or the SEC, there is no easy schedule. We compare schedules to one another, right? So compared to everybody else in the SEC, Georgia does have a weak schedule, right? Compared to everybody else in the Big Ten, especially when you look at non-conference games, Michigan does have a weak schedule. I've got to go Georgia. Because, Michigan, I do think there are a few landmines there. I know Georgia's breaking in a new quarterback, but he's walking into the best situation possible. But Michigan fans, don't fret, because when it comes to predictions, we're going to make the end of fall camp. I don't think you're going to hate what I have to say, at least right now.
Ooh.
At least right now.
That gets me
That's where I'm
excited.
leaning.
But I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely that Georgia would go undefeated. And in terms of the weakness, the non-conference aspect of that, I think, is more fair than the in-season.
Yeah, I think that's...
I've played on the road at Penn State. That's not fun. I don't care if they're breaking in a new quarterback or not. That is going to be an absolute battle. And for Michigan, you've beaten the Buckeyes 2 years in a row. I don't care if you play them in the Big House this year. You don't think they're coming for vengeance?
Oh,
that is going to be a
super pissed.
bloodbath. So just from those two aspects alone, and Michigan State, another rivalry game.
Yeah.
They could drop
Well,
that
yeah,
one.
and going through they're the two best conferences in my opinion. Now the Pac-12 could be better this year, but on the Georgia note too, that Oklahoma game did have to get moved because Oklahoma was coming in the SEC the next year. So I want to make sure that people aren't like, oh, Georgia didn't want to schedule anybody.
But that's what happened to Michigan last year.
That's what happened to
with
Michigan
UCLA.
last year. Like
David
sometimes
Pollock,
it just
David
happens.
Pollock still came on here and was talking trash. I need David Pollock to come on here and acknowledge that for Georgia this
Well,
year.
you need David Pollock to come on here too so you can sing the fight song.
I tried to make good on my bet. Unlike
You can only
Matt
do
Walsh,
what you can do.
unlike Matt Walsh, you remember this. I
Yeah.
tried to sing the Georgia fight song to him, and things got in the way.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into this Pac-12 talk. We got Tim Brando coming on here in about 11 minutes. I want to make sure we get into this and the get off my lawn.
5 big, huge, humongous questions. First one,
giant.
Pac-12. Say they might partner with Apple here for their new streaming deal. Are they just reaching for straws at this point, or is this a legitimate opportunity? Sounds like it's going to be subscription-based.
Yeah, and this reminds me of when, Harry and Lloyd and Dumb and Dumber.
It's not a good start.
When Lloyd drives the wrong way, like a sixth of the way across the country, And he's like, I just feel like the commissioner of the Pac-12 is looking at all the teams like Arizona and all of them. It's like when they look at this deal, they're like, this deal's terrible. Like this, it doesn't. And look, I get it. You're not fighting with the biggest sword, right? If you're George Kliavkoff, I have trouble pronouncing that last name. But it's just like, I'm sorry, Mr. Perfect. Like this is the best deal, right? You gave him the best deal first. It's not like he wasn't going to give him the best deal first, and then all of a sudden there's some other better deal waiting in the wings. So when you look at this deal, it's basically we need this amount of subscribers for you. It's escalators, right? Mm-hmm. Like in your contract. Like if you get a certain amount of views or subscriptions, whatever it is for Apple TV, then you get paid a certain amount of money. It's not like you're sitting here and you're guaranteed a lot of money, and then it's an escalator on top of getting a lot of this money. This deal is exactly what we thought it was going to be. It is a streaming service deal that does not nearly net you or yield you the amount of money they're going to keep teams in here, right? Nobody at that Arizona Board of Regents meeting, not regions, Blaine, with your bank, Regents meeting, looked at that deal that was proposed and said, oh my God, you guys, we've got to stay in the Pac-12. This solidifies it. It's over after seeing this, because your second offer doesn't get better. It's not like you go back and buy a better engagement ring on the second time. That's not how that works. So I think Arizona's gone. I think Arizona State's gone. I think Utah's gone. That's to the Big 12. I think Oregon and Washington are probably going to the Big 10. Now, I know that these things do take longer than what people think. It seems like it's going fast because you hear about it when it happens or right before the meeting's about to be called. But these moves have been being made for a while. I think the Pac-12 is definitely now on its way out. The throat is slit. They're bleeding out. It's done. And the crazy part is they've tried this incentive thing before. This isn't the first time they tried it with the Pac-12 network, and it didn't work. You want to know why? Because it's dumb. And it's not, he said we're going to try and get ahead of the market because it's going this way. Have you seen what's going on right now? Have you seen everybody else? If it was going that way, then everybody else would be going that way. If it was going that way, ESPN wouldn't be falling apart like Mr. Potato Head if you dropped him off the Eiffel Tower.
That is true.
So I mean, I don't know what you think, David, but it's exactly what I expected. Okay. Exactly what I expected.
It doesn't seem like a long-term winning strategy when you see the way the SEC and the Big Ten are pulling away. But I will say this. At least Apple is a legitimate brand. At least Apple is the type of company that is always on the forefront of these sort of moves when it comes to technology and things like that. Perhaps the partnership could surprise a lot of people, or at least to the point where the Pac-12 could survive for a little while. Here's one of the reports coming out. According to sources, the first year of what's expected to be a relatively short-term contract with Apple would start in 2024 for next season. So 24 and 25, and begin relatively low relative to the league's hopes, but the deal, sources said, would incrementally improve and potentially be competitive with its peers in the Big 12 and the ACC down the road, provided certain subscription numbers are met.
Yeah, potentially I'm going to be 7'4".
It's a lot of maybes in that.
They said, Blaine, they said you got to get 32.6 million subscribers to be able to catch up to the other leagues or something like that.
How much is this?
Which is 10% of the, United States? Like to subscribe? How's that going to work? So you mean to tell me everybody over there at Oregon State is going to subscribe to Apple TV? Like if the only way this would work is if it was in a conference that it was diehard, like the SEC or the Big Ten or even the ACC, to be honest with you. And not that the West Coast is there's places out there, and not just on the coast, it's not on the Pac-12, that love football, that love it like we love it. I recruited out there. I can go to Bakersfield, California. They love it like we love it. But it's not an aggregate like it is in the South or on the East Coast or in the Midwest, right? It's not everywhere. It's not wholesome. It's not all-encompassing. So you're never going to have a deal that could run with the SEC or Big Ten. You're just not, because more people they're doing other things out there other than college football.
In those big cities.
In those big cities. So nobody was expecting you to have a deal as good as the SEC. But not only do you not have a deal that is stapled in, this amount of money is as good or is somewhat more than what people thought, you're going on a streaming subscription style plan, which it's just not going to work. it's not going to work.
So is it so if you just buy Apple Plus, do you get it? Or do you have to buy Apple?
You have to subscribe to Apple Plus.
Then you have to subscribe to a Pac-12.
Probably.
Is it on top of it to get what you want? Or is it just
NHL?
you get Apple Plus, you get Pac-12, all the games you want?
Whatever the easiest, most rational thing is probably not.
That's exactly right.
Dude,
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Major League Baseball here. A couple big things. Justin Verlander traded back to the Astros after he won the World Series there. Short stint with the Mets. This comes at the trade deadline. And then also, while we're talking about Astros, Framber Valdez threw the 16th no-hitter in Astros history in a 2-0 victory last night over the Guardians. And I have a little stat here from our boy Cody Nason. He says Valdez last night had the lowest pitch count, 93 pitches, in a no-hitter / perfect game since our guy David Cone threw 88 pitches in 1999. Your thoughts here with Verlander going back to the Astros?
Huge for Houston. This is a great kind of clap back a little bit to the Rangers getting Scherzer and Jordan Montgomery, even though I think the Rangers won the trade deadline. I mean, they got Hedges too as well. I love what Texas did going all in when they have a chance, because they don't have a chance a lot out there, at least haven't in the past. But the Astros, again, it shows you they're going to try and go win their third one. Now, when you look at the Verlander contract, some things that kind of scared people away was the 140 inning, I think, incentive in the deal, which I'll pull it up and we can get into that towards the end of the show. But you look at the Astros, man, they're going to be there, right? Even if they don't win the division. But watching the competition in this division, to me, is absolutely fascinating. There's a couple divisions in Major League Baseball right now that I think are must-see TV right now, and I know we don't say that a lot with Major League Baseball. Just to show you, the Orioles right now are a game and a half up on the Tampa Bay Rays. I love what the Orioles did at the trade deadline, too, getting Jack Flaherty. You look at the Twins, they're 2 games up on Cleveland right now, 2 very competitive divisions right there. Then you have the Rangers, a half game up on the Astros. Boys, the American League right now, I mean, you don't have a team leading a division by more than 2 games, and that's awesome.
I love it.
And then you look at the National League, Braves up 11 games, over the Phillies. Brewers up down a half, or the Reds are up a half game over the Brewers. And then you have the Dodgers up only 2.5 over the Gigantes. But huge trade with Verlander.
It's going to be interesting down the stretch. I mean, rather than kick it to you and rub salt in the wounds with trade deadline and Yankees, do you want me to just go to the next one with NFL?
Go to the next one, David.
All right, to you here, Cooper Kupp, because I know you had him on your fantasy team last year. Cooper Kupp leaves Rams practice yesterday with a hamstring issue. Remember, he missed 8 games last season. I know you know. Went out for you, but you still won fantasy. Congratulations. Missed 8 games in 18, but he won the Triple Crown in 21. Are the best days for Cooper Kupp in the NFL behind him?
No. I don't know. It's it's a real steal situation with him. The more you hurt him, the better he gets. Literally, he's towards ACL 6 times.
Steals.
And sprained his ankle 13 times. Cooper Kupp is just one of those guys. He's Haru.
More athletic Jordy Nelson.
Better hands. I mean, look, first of all, shout out to Eastern Washington, I believe. Absolute savage.
Red turf.
You can't touch a kid in a phone booth. He's so productive, man. He's so productive. Especially with Stafford still being there, I think his numbers will go down if Stafford goes out. Obviously, you have to put in kind of okay Stetson.
You've seen Stetson at practice. They said he's already beat out Brett Rippon to be QB2.
Well, he beat out Brett Rippon? God, must be tough. Who is that?
Played at Boise State.
God, it must be tough. Yeah. But no, Cooper Kupp, I won't until he's retired. Is the only way he's not going to.
So you have faith.
I'm saying if he's in their top 5 fantasy pick, you're taking him.
Wow, top 5 even with the injury?
Yeah, 100%.
We'll see, hamstring. Same question for you, but for Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas with the Saints said he isn't back 100% yet. Are his best days in the NFL behind him?
Yes, and I can't trust Michael Thomas. I can't. I want to see Michael Thomas out there having success. He's fun to watch. I enjoy watching the Saints. I want to see him and Derek Carr get deep in their bag, especially now that Kamara, pled that down to a misdemeanor. Looks like he's not going to have that big of a suspension, at least I think right now. Who the hell knows with the NFL? So you look at the weapons that are getting put around Derek Carr. But with Michael Thomas, I will not. It's like Zion, right? I'm not going to trust you till you are out there playing and being productive. And I can't. And look, some guys get unfortunate with injuries. That's part of the game. And Michael Thomas has been one of them. We've seen Michael Thomas when he's out there. He's an absolute dog. But I'm not going to trust you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 8 times, I don't trust Michael Thomas.
I get it. All right, last one here. Pretty serious situation out of Iowa. So this is Iowa State quarterback Hunter Dekkers has been accused of betting on events involving the Cyclones, including 2021 football games, and is among 4 current or former athletes at the university charged with tampering with records related to an ongoing investigation by the Iowa Criminal Division. So my question here, you and I talk a lot about, deterring certain actions in society and how we don't do that enough, with our legal system. To deter this type of behavior in the future, because we're seeing more and more of this, these betting scandals now that betting is legalized across the country in a lot of states. What should the repercussions be for this behavior to deter it in the future?
Okay, if we're and again, this ground ball's still being run out, so everything is allegedly, but what I read on this, and I think every circumstance is somewhat different, is that he bet on games, and he's not the only one. There was a wrestler. There's a guy who got drafted by the Broncos who got suspended for gambling on NFL games as well that they're looking back at. And there's another player, I think a sophomore on the football team. They said that he bet allegedly while he was underage, number one, through his parents. So that was something that they're looking at. They said he bet on his own team's games. Okay, now, I have sat on here and I have said that I don't think it should be illegal for you to be able, and how you police this, I don't know, because this is through DraftKings, by the way.
Yes.
How you police this, I don't know, which isn't good when you're trying to offer solutions. But if you're betting on your own team, the only bet you can make is on the money line to win. I've got no problem with that. If that's the only bet you made. How you police that, I don't know. If you're betting on other teams, who cares, right, to me? But if it's found out that you bet on your own team to either lose, or you bet a spread, or you bet a prop, or anything outside of money line, especially early in this deal, you should be banned from playing college athletics again. You have got to drop the hammer early on this. This is one of those things where there's an old saying, you can always start hard and get easier. You can never start easy and get harder. You got to set a precedent. That's what this is about. This is setting a precedent. If this kid bet on his team, when he bet on his team, allegedly, if it was anything other than money line, in my opinion, to win, then he should be banned from college athletics, and that should be the rule. If you break this rule, you should be banned from playing in college athletics. Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame in Major League Baseball, one of the greatest hitters ever of all time, one of the greatest baseball players ever of all time, because he bet on his own team to win, which I think is ridiculous on the money line. But if you did anything else than that, you're cooked.
I still think Pete Rose did more than just that.
I need to see it.
We'll never know. And we don't know the details on this right here, but some things we do know, Blaine. An affidavit included with the criminal complaint filed Monday in the Iowa District Court for Story County alleges approximately 366 bets totaling $2,799 on DraftKings linked to Dekkers, including 26 on Iowa State sporting events.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. You're done. First of all, you're stupid. Second of all, you're ignorant. You know what you're doing. Like, you don't deserve to play. Like, it's not, everybody can't do this. It's not just a free ride to go play college football. There's consequences to your actions, all right? You can't bet on games. There's no way to police this. There's no way you can sit up here, well, hell, he only took money line. So, like, and I somewhat agree with what you're saying, but until they find a way to police this at all, you cannot open this door the slightest bit, because it will be pandemonium. You don't deserve to play. You deserve to be banned. Your parents should be looked at harshly and with a lot of judgment.
A lot of judgment?
Yeah, to be honest. And it's just, to me, man, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not at all. You shouldn't set foot on a football field again.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's against the rules right now. And if you did it underage, then you're cooked anyway. So it really doesn't matter. But we have Timmy B, our good friend, is making some news. But before we get to him, if you want a head of hair as luxurious as Tim Brando's, and let's say maybe hereditary hair loss runs in your family. You're looking at your dad and your grandfather, you're scared to death right now.
Yep.
Okay, your hair's just running away from you. Okay, like a kid in a bad situation. Well, our friends at Provia have the answer. All right, and it's through an unbelievable natural ingredient called Procapil. Okay, and there's millions of American men and women. It's not just men. There's women too that are just waking up this morning scared to death. All right, they're going to start going bald, or they're dealing with premature hair thinning, or they just want to prevent it. And like I said, our friends at Provia, they can help you get over the hump. It's effective for men and women of any age, and it's safe on colored, treated, and styled hair. Had some people message me asking, hey, what if I have my hair treated? What if, is it going to mess up, what I have done? No, it will not. So take advantage of Provia's exclusive introductory summer package at proviahair.com. That's PROVIA.com/booster. And then if you enter the promo code at checkout, you get an extra discount on your order. You'll see results for yourself right now. Don't wait. That's proviahair.com/booster. Turn a hairy situation into a hairy situation. Tim Brando, our guy Timmy B. What is up, my friend?
Do you know how many times I had to tell people this stuff was mine?
Oh, no, I can tell it's yours.
Times I had to do. Well, I mean, I had to tell them, listen, I had, and full disclosure, 2 surgeries. Okay, I had it. My father was as bald as a man could get. And I did have 2 surgeries, took a little from here, a little from here, put it up.
It's all yours, though. You're just diversifying your portfolio. That's the way I look at it.
I just took some cells from back here and some cells from back here and put them on top. But yeah, that's, I think, when all else fails and Twitter is condemning you for something you said on a football game, when you get to the rock bottom of criticism on social media, take that hair that you put on your head before the game. Always, that's the last go-to by every mean tweet is your hair. I don't know why, sure. But it is. It's the last go-to for all mean tweets.
It's playground rules, man. Everybody just gets super personal. But speaking about personal, Timmy B, you drop and I want you to explain to people what, this isn't like a preseason top 10 going into week 1. Here's what I think. I want you to explain to people, how you kind of go about this and what this represents. Because I find that we were talking about this. I find this fascinating, the way you go about it. We really appreciate you breaking it with us. And I'm sure there will be nothing but a rational and measured reaction by every fan base, regardless good or bad here. But please tell people what, because we're going to start with your just out, so not your top 10, but tell people what this top 10 is.
Well, one of the things is, I think, ever since I started it, which was on the old Tim Brando show, which we had on the air between 2001 and 2015. And then after that, I would do it on Feinbaum's show. And it was, of course, with his audience, really the anger, angst, and bitterness was unbelievable.
Yes.
Particularly if Alabama was not one. If Alabama was not number 1. So, but the reaction was, Jake, it was this. It was, how the hell could you put that team there? Because I don't see them anywhere, because my preseason poll is not a starting grid. See, I've always had a problem with preseason polls. So I wanted mine to be the antichrist of all other preseason polls.
Yes.
Which means it's not a starting grid or where teams deserve to be based on, last year's record, returning letterman, and how they did in the transfer portal and in recruiting. Okay, now I think it's based almost always solely on recruiting first and foremost, and the portal. Okay, I mean, it really is, with returning players playing probably the third part of it. But to predict how the finish will be, to me, is more challenging. It's simple. Anybody can put up whether it's Sports Illustrated or Lindy's or AP, name your preseason poll. They're all the same. And the teams, I mean, you might move 3 and 4, or you might move 8 and 9, but they're all basically the same teams.
Yeah.
My poll, my preseason poll is about the way it will finish. So think of this as my just out, as the teams I feel like will go, say, between 11 and 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But 10 through 1 is the way I think it's going to finish. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is the order of finish, in my opinion, which means there will be teams in here that'll just blow your mind. Teams that climb into the top 10 that you're going, that's garbage. How can he do that? How can you put that team in the top 10? So it is going to always bring anger, angst, and bitterness, to a lot of fans, because some of their teams will be left out. And last year, as you noted, when I was with you, it was Texas A&M that I had as the most disappointing team, and And they were, as it turned out, a 5-17. And we get some right, we get some wrong. But it's fun, and we do this for, as I like to say, blanks and giggles anyway. So,
for sure. Well, all right, well, let's start with your just out.
Yeah, we'll start with just out, and I believe you'll see some action on the screen as we talk about it.
Yep.
Just out is Notre Dame. Now, the addition of Sam Hartman will bring some excitement, and I see a potential win over Ohio State early.
Really?
Just out, Utah. Now, listen, the Utes have been the best defense for a long time in the Pac-12. I see only one problem for them. Oregon is too good, and their defense is better. That'll be their problem in the Pac-12. TCU is no joke. They're not a fluke. Chandler Morris, if he can stay healthy, and that's been his problem, staying healthy. He was to have been the starter last year before he got hurt. Max Duggan took over. We know what happened. I think the Horned Frogs are here to stay in the Big 12. Texas A&M, it is a bounce-back year for the Aggies.
Look at that, Tim Brando.
I believe Petrino and Jimbo will work it out. I think there'll be some steps early that might be difficult, some roads that will lead them down a downward spiral early, but I think they will close very well. So I like the Aggies in my just out.
I love
Couple
it.
of teams to really keep an eye on. All right. UTSA, my first fly in the ointment in the teams that will be mentioned today. Jeff Traylor is one of those Texas high school football legends. He's recruited really well. Last year, they should have beaten Houston, lost to them in overtime. They get Houston right out of the gates, and that will be a tough one for Dana Holgerson. Keep an eye on the Roadrunners.
Yeah.
I believe they could beat either Tennessee or Houston. Upset Central. UTSA is a team to watch. And the best team that no one's talking about in the Big 12 is Joey McGuire's Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Yeah, guns up.
That team is loaded, guns up for McGuire and company.
Agreed.
Keep an eye on them. Tyler Shuck, the transfer who got hurt last year, will be back, likely to be the starting quarterback, and they're really good. Their defense is undervalued. They do play that 3-3-5 thing, and they're fast, they're quick, and he's recruited really, really well. So that is my just out.
I love. Yeah, I'm ready. I love just a couple things. Number one, I'm with you on the Texas A&M train right there.
I like it too.
Yeah, I'm with you. I try and wait for as long as possible toward the NFL camp to make these predictions. I can't wait to see the reaction on the Texas A&M one. UTSA, 100%. That team has got their sneaky Jeff Traylor, like you said, him and Joey McGuire, the head coach for Texas Tech as well, a team I'm very high on. Both huge, big-time high school coaches in Texas. I love the route that both of those places went. But no, Timmy B, I mean, I'm looking at that. I
got a question about Notre Dame, but do you want to jump in first?
No.
Any comment
No.
Any comment from you on Texas A&M?
It's just, with A&M, it's a Bigfoot situation. I have to see it to believe it. I get
that. I do.
So, I mean, it's they had the talent for sure. The Jimbo Fisher, Bobby Petrino mix. We'll see how it is. But I just don't believe. I think they maybe 7-5.
Oh, all right. Gosh. Notre Dame quickly,
Tim. Their
good.
schedule, though, is I think the A&M schedule will be a benefit to them late.
Miami, big turning point.
Okay, so Notre Dame, you think Notre Dame beats the Buckeyes at home? Is that what you said?
Potential is there for that, yes.
Okay.
I absolutely do, yeah.
So my question is, if they win that big game.
Hartman is really outstanding.
He really is. I mean, ACC's, all-time passing leader, huge get. So if they win that game and they still are not in your top 10, where do they falter then? Is it only on the road at Clemson? Because a one-loss Notre Dame team we've seen be able to, get in the playoff and crack inside that top 10.
They definitely lose at Clemson, and I think there's another one out there.
Okay, I see.
I think they spit the bit someplace else.
Okay.
I mean, he is a new coach, and there have been those moments. I mean, the home loss last year that came early was one of those Twilight Zone losses, and
they do get Southern Cal. They get Southern Cal at home too.
You get Duke. You go to Duke and to Louisville back-to-back weeks after that Ohio State game, right? Maybe coming off a big high. Riley Leonard at Duke and Mike Elko, man. Then you look at Louisville with Braum coming back home. I know they got some work to do up front, but Timmy B, I can see it. USC as well. I mean, And you got at NC State with Brennan Armstrong?
Yeah. And then Pittsburgh before you go to Clemson.
No, yeah, listen, Pitt and North Carolina State are always teams that no one talks about, and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Both of those teams are pretty good.
No.
So, I just think there are hiccups along the way after Ohio State, but they'll be so geared up for that game. And I think the Buckeyes, the best time to play them is early.
Especially with the new quarterback. Hell yeah. That's exactly right.
They were very competitive against them last year. I mean, they were. It wasn't a well-played game really by either team. So, and that can happen. These early season games are tilt games. They're emotional games. And losing one of those games, if you're favored, can be the difference in 2 or 3 losses to your schedule.
Yeah, well, Timmy B, how many times have we've seen teams at the end who ended up making it? You look back and all of a sudden you're like, God, that week 2, week 3 game where they played bad and were able to sneak out of that game with a win. I mean, that's what helps get you there. But speaking about getting us there, you ready to drop it? You ready to drop the Timmy B top 10?
Let's do it.
Let's dance, baby.
Let's start with number 10. Your big-time fly-in-the-ointment Group of 5 selection, the Green Wave of Tulane. Willie Fritz. I mean, you could pencil him in for National Coach of the Year almost any time with the job that he has done for the Green Wave. Look out, Ole Miss. That is an upset special.
Week 2, September 9.
Waiting to happen. Week 2, September 9. I think the Green Wave are going to get it done. Now, that isn't to say that Ole Miss is going to have a bad year. I think Lane Kiffin with those quarterbacks in that quarterback room are going to be fine. I think Jackson Dart's going to be the guy. But Tulane's legit, and they returned enough from that team that beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. I love the Green Wave. Think back to that Kansas State season last year and the dirt that was thrown on K-State after they lost to Tulane. Looking back, it wasn't a bad loss, was it?
Nope.
And this is at Tulane? That's at Tulane? Oh, man.
Tulane, UTSA at the end of the season.
Oof.
Number 9, the Nittany Lions of Penn State. They can't wait for Drew Aller. I think Penn State is a year away. All right. I think they are ready to take the mantle potentially from either Michigan or Ohio State in another year. I don't think they can get there this year, but I think the Nittany Lions are capable of pulling off something big and playing a New Year's Six bowl game. Go with James Franklin's team. He's getting talent, that rivals Ohio State more so than Michigan. Now, he doesn't have the numbers and he doesn't have the depth yet, but he's on his way, and I think that's going to pay dividends.
Yeah, and I think, Timmy B, I don't know if there's another team in the country that may benefit more from their conference not going to divisions, that are going away from divisions than Penn State, having to be over there with Michigan and Ohio State. Sorry, Timmy B, go ahead.
No problem. Florida State, Eddie loves, right? Not me. Yeah. I'm not there. I don't think they beat LSU. I don't. I know they got a quarterback that many believe could be invited, to New York for the Heisman, and he may well be. But I just think Clemson has got to be there. Dabo's got some heat. Dabo's got pressure to at least command things in the ACC. I think they'll cannibalize, because I don't think Clemson's a dominant team by any stretch. But I think over the long haul, that's your best team in the ACC, and I like them number 8. Number 7, Kansas State. Last year, under the radar with that Big 12 title. Most people around the country couldn't tell you that they won the Big 12 title. Most people probably think TCU did because they played for the national championship. Even though they didn't, K-State never gets any love. But this year, they'll take it again. They'll beat Texas again. They do it, and they do it with consistency. No one ever gives them credit. Chris Kleiman's one of the best coaches in America. They deserve to be number 7. Take many Manhattans, Kansas State. Number 6 is Alabama.
Ooh.
I got Alabama at number 6.
Wow.
Who's your quarterback? We don't know. I mean, we just don't know. The defense, how much better is it going to be with Golding gone? I guess it'll be better. It could be better. But I think what we're seeing here is a slow drip, of the vice loosening on Alabama's dynasty within the Southeastern Conference. And that's what we're going to see here. Nothing terrible. They'll be in the hunt for the national championship. Obviously, if they beat LSU, they could very likely play in the SEC title game. I don't think they win it, and I think by the end they'll fall down to 6. But that's where I've got them. Alabama in the 6 hole at the end. Number 5, I got the Buckeyes just out of the Final Four this year. Ohio State is in a tough spot, having to play at Michigan to close it out. I think the Notre Dame hiccup is also there. It'll be a real question mark at the end of the year on Ryan Day, because you know how the Buckeyes fan base responds when they don't beat their rival, and I don't think they're going to beat their rival this year again.
3 in a row.
Now, that isn't to say that Ryan's done a poor job. He's not. Listen, if they don't lose their receiver on what was clearly a penalty at the end of that game against Georgia, they would have been playing for and maybe would have won the national championship last year despite losing to Michigan. But I've got Ohio State number 5. Now, when you move to 4, obviously that means we're talking playoff. So we take it to another level. At number 4, they will be very, very tough to beat all season long. The message will be sent from game 1 on against Florida State. LSU is going to get it done and manage to make a college football playoff and wind up in the 4 hole. Look for them to get the job done with those quarterbacks. Jen Daniels will be in New York and has a very good chance of winning the Heisman Trophy. LSU is all that and more. Number 3, the Quack
Wow, the
Attack.
Pac-12 gets one in.
Are you kidding me?
Focus.
Look
In a
at
year
that.
when most people have taken the Pac-12, put them in that dead and buried category, look out for, I think he's a 27th semester senior, right? Or maybe he's at 47th semesters. Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is playing back in the Pac-10. But Timmy B, basically what you know what you're saying, Timmy B? You know what you're saying?
Yep.
Quack. Quack.
Yeah.
Quack.
Quack.
Quack. Quack. Quack. Quack. Quack. Quack. Let's get it. I love it.
Bombay.
I absolutely love
Number
it.
3. And the key for them will be going into Lubbock and beating a tough Texas Tech team. That'll be a game on September the 9th that elevates them. Now, much of America may not be watching it because Alabama and Texas will be on in prime time on ABC opposite that game. But trust me when I tell you, Texas Tech and Oregon is a game you want to DVR.
Yeah, get another TV. Wake up.
The Red Raiders will give them all they want. But I like Oregon. I just think and to come out of the Pac-12, you figure you got to get past Utah, and I think they can. And I think that from an offensive standpoint, they've got tremendous receivers. The system is really, really good. They do have a new offensive coordinator coming in, but Dan Lanning's done a really good job. I was impressed with every part of his staff, his organizational capabilities. He's made some in-game mistakes, but I like the mistakes because they've been mistakes of aggression.
Yeah.
I think Lanning is going to be potentially a legendary coach before he's done at Oregon. Number 2.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
2.
Here we go, Timmy B.
Everybody's thinking 3-peat, and I know the Dogs have it all going on. But this year, just as USC could not get it quite done against Texas, I don't think they'll be able to quite get it done in the championship game. Georgia is in the 2 hole. The Bulldogs are a bridesmaid this year. Now, listen, they are the best team with the most talent. I get that. But at some point, you don't have all your I's dotted. You don't have all your T's crossed. And I think the quarterback room, I'm sorry. The fans all wanted their quarterback that got 2 of them. They all wanted him replaced. He went out and won 2. Now you're going to get one that you're really excited about, and I know you are excited. Athletically, brings more to the table, upside greater, ceiling perhaps much higher. Georgia finishes number 2. And number 1.
Come on, Timmy
Number
B.
1, drum roll, please.
Let's go, baby. Come on. Hail to the victor's value. Let's go, Tim.
The team.
Is that Bo Schembechler?
Bo Schembechler will be smiling. Bob Ufer up there will be singing the praises of Michigan's history and its past. even though it hadn't had a national championship since when? Greasy was quarterbacking? I like Michigan to get it done. The quarterback is ready. Okay? Yeah, they don't have as many 5 stars and 4 stars as either Georgia or Alabama or anybody. But they built a team. And in every aspect, I have to say that they're strong. They may not be the best at every position, but they're strong. And the best part for them this year, the schedule is the closest thing to Georgia's for weakness that I think I've seen. They really don't need Harbaugh on the sidelines for the first 4 games.
I agree with
They'll be fine. And they are going to run roughshod right through the Big Ten with the schedule that they have. When they get Ohio State at home, they will be fine. And they've got a quarterback that knows how to win big games. And from an offensive standpoint, here's what they proved a year ago. If a defense gives them anything, they'll take advantage of it. And Ohio State did last year.
Yeah.
And they got it run right down their throat. And Michigan knows who they are. There's an old saying in college football, know who you are.
Yeah.
Michigan knows who they are. And I think this 4-game suspension at the top, it is a joke, but it offers a chip on the shoulder.
There we go.
Might be the size of a boulder by the time we get to October.
Yep.
So I've got the Michigan Wolverines winning it all, and there is your Timmy B's top 10.
Okay, first off, if it's cool with you, Timmy B, we have to do this every season.
Yes.
I have a lot of fun every morning on this show, right? But that was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
Okay, number 2, I'm not dropping mine, like I said, until we get toward the end of fall camp, but there are a lot of parallels to me. I really just want to jump out and say something, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it yet. I'm going to conserve my powder.
We know.
Conserve my powder.
Know.
Yeah, you know, because I talk to you guys every day after the show. What I find fascinating is, so with the LSU, so you have your playoff, your 4 teams in the playoff are LSU, Oregon, Georgia, and Michigan, correct?
Right.
So are you thinking, because we talked about this earlier on the show, and hey, remember, you can call in, let us know what you think about it, 1-855-236-3228, 1-855-236-3228, like R2D2. But do you think LSU gets there, Timmy B? But I know you said you think they're going to beat Florida State. At the beginning of the show today, I call it the biggest insurance game of 2023 of the year. Either way.
Right.
Do they beat Alabama on the road, and then do they run the table and beat Georgia in the SEC championship, or do they lose to Bama on the road? Bama wins the West, who loses to Georgia, and LSU gets in the playoff. How are you kind of seeing crystal ball in that?
Well, all of those possibilities exist.
Yeah,
I mean, they really do.
I agree.
I just believe they're going to lose one game. My bottom line on LSU is they're only going to lose one game.
Gotcha. Okay, that was my question.
They'll either lose on the road at Ole Miss or on the road at Alabama.
Gotcha.
One of those 2 games they're going to lose. But the issue will be, as you point out, and this happens, how many times does this happen with a 14 playoff? If you have a gaudy record and you went through a really strong schedule, and LSU will have gone through a very strong schedule, how do you keep them out if they did lose to Alabama in a very good game at the end of the year? You know,
and
Alabama
then beat Florida State.
Alabama did the same thing, you might recall, when they lost their championship. They didn't have to play in a championship game, and they got Notre Dame after LSU couldn't get the job done. Alabama got a rematch against LSU, even though LSU had won the quote unquote game of the century. So it's happened before. It's not like we haven't seen SEC teams, great ones,
for sure,
not make their championship game and still get into either the BCS title game or the college football playoff. So I'm not going to tell you that I know for sure this team's going to win against Bama. Bama, I'm not going to predict that. But I do think that from a scheduling standpoint, they have a tougher schedule than Alabama, without a doubt, not even close. So if they lose to Alabama, so what? If Alabama drops the SEC title game to Georgia and LSU's sitting there with one loss, I think you take LSU. I do. Yeah. Just as you would have taken Alabama when they were in a position to get a rematch years ago. So, there's all kinds of different scenarios and possibilities.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that you guys haven't talked about the noticeable teams I left out.
I was about to say
There's two that I have.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
out-
Is Texas
even
one
out
of
of
them?
Southern Cal and Texas are two
Those
teams
are the
missing.
two.
Southern Cal and Texas. What are your thoughts?
All overrated. Texas especially overrated. I think Caleb Williams is the goods, and my God, he's the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. And look, they're a top 20 team. Yeah, Texas is probably a top 25 team, an 8-win team. Is that enough? No, that doesn't warrant consideration to me for knocking on the door to the top 10. USC's problem is its defense, and their defensive coordinator. Their defensive coordinator has not gotten it done, and Lincoln, that's a very difficult pill to swallow sometimes, to let a guy go that you believe, and that just hasn't happened yet. But you've got to have better. They got absolutely boat raced by Tulane's offense last year, that Cotton Bowl. And the reason it was so easy to pick Utah to win the Pac-12 last year was because of what? Defense. Yeah. And they mastered USC on 2 occasions. Why? Defense.
Physicality.
So, the love for the brand names is always out there. And USC right now is a bigger brand than they are brawn. They lack brawn, they got brand. And Texas is the same story. They're running a Club Med down there in Austin. They think they're great. They got 5 stars after 5 star after 5 star. And I'm sorry, Sark has not gotten those guys to play the way they need to play. And they're a long way from being ready for the SEC. You guys didn't mention Oklahoma.
I was going to say Oklahoma and Tennessee.
Yeah,
and Tennessee.
Tennessee, in my opinion, is going to be really challenged by the likes of Kentucky, by South Carolina, by teams in the East that are really good. I think Kentucky, they are still a factor. A lot of people want to throw dirt on that team because they lack imagination. Last year, if their offensive line had been a little bit better, I think they would have won 10 games. But, Levis was running for his life a little bit back there. I think that his defense is always good. Stoops has done I think a great job. And I think other teams in the East are really good, and they get no love because the fascination in the Southeastern Conference is to play heavy ball and just promote heavyweights. All the fans and even the websites, they talk Georgia, they talk Bama, they talk maybe a little LSU, maybe a little Florida because of history, but they don't ever want to go to South Carolina, Kentucky, Missouri. Let me tell you, Missouri is a team I almost put in my just out.
Really?
I think Missouri, I think Drinkwitz is going to have a really good team.
He needs it.
Kansas State and Missouri early. If he were to upset Case, and that game's in Columbia, Missouri. Yep. If Missouri wins that game, look out for them because they've got good personnel on the offensive side of the ball. And I think, Missouri has proven that they can do it. Gary Pinkel had great success as soon as they came into the league and had both good defenses and good offenses in those years. I think Eli knows this is a very important year for him. Full disclosure, I really like the guy. I'd like to see him succeed. Just as I feel about Beamer. I think Shane is a tremendous coach and is on the precipice. You see the guys recruiting some big
Dylan Stewart yesterday, big time player they got.
So I think the hang up, especially with SEC media, and a lot of this, Jay, is based on about money. The preseason rags know that they're going to sell more in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. You're going to sell more everything in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Florida, and in Georgia, and in Baton Rouge. But those other schools just never get the love that they really deserve when they're good. And I'm saying Kentucky's good, South Carolina's good, Missouri's good. Those teams have improved. People will always sleep on Ole Miss when they're good. Okay, now the reason why Ole Miss gets a little bit of love is because Kiffin is so quotable, and he knows that, and that's why he plays the media the way he does. That's why he takes the stage at SEC Media Days and says everything is a disaster with the portal, while he's probably doing more in the portal than just about every other colleague he's got in the SEC. So, but I mean, it's about the programs that get attention.
Yeah.
And Tennessee got a lot and deserved it, and they were really good. But I think the loss of Hooker is huge, huge for them. And listen, I've got no problem with them having a really good team. I just think that they're not a team that's going to be contending this year because I think they'll have some slip-ups within their division. I'll tell you right now, I think Kentucky finishes second to Georgia in the SEC East.
Wow. Well, Timmy B, speaking about good, you're always good, my friend. This was a pleasure. We have got to do this every single year. I know you guys are gearing up. You and Spencer are gearing up, ready to go. Got a couple golf outings to play before that that me and you talked about the other day. But, man, thanks so much for coming on again. It's just great. It's always fun. You're the best.
Happy to do it. If I don't talk to you before we have toe meeting leather, we start on week 0 with San Diego State and Ohio U, which is on the 26th of August.
Snapdragon, baby.
Then on the 1st, that's a Friday, I'm going to go up to Sparty, see Michigan State, Central Michigan. On the 9th, I'll go out to the Coliseum. I'm sure the Trojans and their fans will be happy to see me for Stanford and USC. And then on the 16th, we get TCU at Houston on Big Fox. Those last two are on Big Fox. So Spencer and I are geared up and ready to go.
Man, well, Timmy B, we appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Happy to be with you as always.
Enjoy Twitter, Timmy B.
Yes, sir. All right, Tim Brando coming in, boy. I know we got calls.
Yeah.
Coming up, we got Get Off My Lawn. Coney, you two, dealer choice here. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I'll go.
G off your L. It's time.
Yeah.
I'm
Time to get off my lawn before we
after
hop on calls.
Timmy B picked Michigan, I'm fired up.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Well, let's stay in
you
that
already
vein.
won it, man.
Let's stay in that vein. If you don't know, David Cohn's really an 80-year-old trapped in a 35-year-old's body. Cohn, it's Wednesday. So who's G'ing off your L in front of everybody today?
Ryan Day needs to get off my lawn and stay off. Last week, the Ohio Buckeyes head coach said the Big Ten should consider moving the annual rivalry game with Michigan from the last week of the season to earlier in the schedule because the possibility of playing back-to-back weeks under the new conference championship format could, quote, minimize the game. How about no? Did everyone just wake up one day and decide that college football needs to be completely altered? I assure you, it does not. We're talking about one of the greatest rivalries in sports. It should be played on the weekend called Rivalry Week, and the tradition of doing so is bigger than the opinion of any one coach. Just imagine for a moment this matchup happening twice in 2 weeks. For the winner, there's a chance to beat your rival multiple times in a calendar year. For the loser, there's an opportunity to avenge that loss 7 days later. The week between these two games would break the space-time continuum, and Ryan Day wants to reconsider that? The SEC is also getting rid of divisions, but I don't hear Nick Saban advocating to move the Iron Bowl because he gets it. The Buckeyes dominated this rivalry for over a decade. It ruined my Thanksgiving meal every November, and I dealt with that like a man, by yelling and throwing things. So now the Wolverines have stepped up and taken the last two. I don't want to hear anything about making changes. It's called the game for a reason. Let's don't treat it like a midseason matchup with Rutgers, with all due respect, of course. And I think I speak for most Buckeye fans as well when I say, Coach Day, concentrate less on transforming tradition and more on beating Michigan and staying off my lawn.
Bars.
Get off my lawn.
More bars than a prison in downtown.
You can't play the game the last week of the season?
This makes you look scared to me.
Some hamburger and some French fries.
What if Hugh Freeze came out, takes this first Iron Bowl, year one, beats Alabama in Jordan Hare, and then Nick Saban comes out and says, the new scheduling format, I think we need to move the Iron Bowl to week 3.
Yeah, you can't. That thought would never even run through my mind because I want to play you again immediately. If we lose, I would love to play you again in a week. Like 2 weeks.
It would break it would break Twitter.
Yes.
I wouldn't, look, if we win, look, Nick, shut up. Like, no one cares what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean,
you under the first year comes out and pulls a dub. Come on, Nick, time to pack the bags. See you in Hawaii.
Don't say you won't.
I just wasn't hearing anything about changing the game up.
No, I
think the last 10 years.
Like all I'll say was I think both sides would agree on that, right? I think both. I think Ryan Day's just out there trying to find a way.
He's reaching. He's reaching right now.
He's reaching on your lawn.
You reach, we teach.
And that's what every now and then you just got to slap that hand.
Pull the ruler out. Slap the hand.
All right.
We guys want calls?
Let's go.
Because we have a Pongo situation here.
We got a Pongo?
Pongo. Alert Matthew in Arkansas.
Matt,
what's going on?
Hey, what's up, boys? Heartbroken Hog here.
There he is.
What's up?
All right, I've got a insane college football playoff scenario for your guys of total in-conference cannibalism.
I wonder if I know one team that's going to be in.
Let's do it. Chicago.
All right, I'm going to start with in the SEC, we're going to have either Bama and LSU both have one loss.
Okay.
With the conference champion being one of them's going to win the head-to-head game, obviously. But that winner will also lose another game before going into the conference championship. In the East, Tennessee is going to go 11-1. They're going to beat Georgia in that home game, but they're going to lose one of their road games. They're going to go to the conference championship.
They're going to go. So wait, Tennessee's going out of the East, you said?
Yes, 11-1 with beating Georgia. But they're going to lose one of their road games, so they'll be 11-1.
Okay.
And Georgia's going to have that 11-1 super close loss to Tennessee, say just like Bama last year.
Okay.
The team out of the West beats Tennessee, so they finish 11-2. You have either Bama or LSU 12-1 with Bama or LSU. The loser that didn't make it 11-1 with their only loss being to that 12-1 conference champ.
Okay, I thought you said that. Hold on one second. I thought you said LSU and Bama both have one loss at the end of the regular season, and one of them goes to the conference championship game to play Tennessee, who also has one loss. So, no, I see what you're saying. You're right. You're right. Okay, you're right. My bad, Matt. My bad. Heartbroken. I'll continue. Sorry, I'm just doing the math in my head.
It's a lot. All right, Big Ten. We're going to have Penn State go 11-1, lose to Michigan. Michigan is going to go 11-1, lose to Ohio State. But Ohio State goes 11-2. They lose to Notre Dame and Penn State.
So 10-2.
They finish as the Big Ten conference champion because of the tiebreaker over
with
Michigan.
Okay.
And
oh my God!
Every other conference champion is a 2-loss conference champion. Who goes to the CFP?
I love this.
Okay, I love this too so much.
It's 7:40 in the morning.
I love it. I love it.
Here's it. No, we're good. We're good. I love it. This is why we did the show in the morning. I say you've got. Here's who goes. Okay, here's who goes. You've got to send the Big Ten winner and the SEC championship winner in there, right? So you got to send. You're saying Ohio State wins the Big Ten championship game, right?
Yes.
Got to send them in. You got to send in either Alabama or LSU, who wins the SEC and beats Tennessee. Now, the other two Michigan has to be one of them, and Georgia has to be the other.
Because you're saying Michigan would have the
one loss. Michigan would have one.
Penn State.
Yeah, Michigan would have one loss though.
To a team that made it.
Georgia would have one loss to a team that made it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has 2 losses. But do you put them in over the team that won the Pac-12? See, this is... So you have a 2-loss champion out of the Pac-12. You've got a 2-loss champion out of the ACC. No, they're going to send the champion. It is going to be a true SEC champ in there, Big Ten champ in there, Pac-12 champ in there, ACC champ in there. Who wins the Big 12? Man, damn it.
It'd be a mess.
It could get dicey.
I really think they'd give 11-1 Georgia a shot because they're the 2-time defending title winners, to be honest.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I think it depends. I'd have to look at this on paper.
Yeah.
And of the 2-loss conference champions, I'd have to see who those 2 losses were to.
And where were they?
Yeah.
Home or away
would
start. I mean, when you're talking about fine details like this, the minutia matters. Where were they?
Fine.
Home or away, and by how many points? Starts to matter.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Man, Heartbroken Dog.
We
That's
need you guys
crazy.
on the playoff committee right now.
Of course we do.
I think that's one of the top calls.
That's look, we can matrix this thing. I'll Mr. Smith this whole situation. But Heartbroken Dog, love when you call in, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Matthew.
Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Yeah, man. Let's go to Jack down in Mobile, Alabama.
Jack, Bobtown, baby.
Be quick.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Morning, Jack.
I am just sitting on the dock of the bay here at Bluegill, and I have just one question for y'all. How many recruits does A&M lose when they have to empty their NIL to pay for Jimbo's buyout.
Man, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Jack. What for Jimbo to get? If let's say, and some people say, oh, he's not going to get fired regardless. Let's just that's not fun to play. All right, let's jigsaw. Let's play a game. What would A&M's record have to be for Jimbo to get fired?
That would just depend on their schedule, but I say the talks start as soon as they lose to Auburn at home.
I'd say, I don't think that's crazy. You've seen Auburn A&M. I think.
What's your answer?
My answer is I think
3-9.
No, I think 5-7 gets him fired.
5-7.
I think 5-7 gets him fired.
I mean,
now here's the real question. Let's say it's 5-7. They're really good on offense and terrible on defense. Do they name Bobby
Petrino the head coach?
No way, right? No way, right? But Jack, that's an interesting question. It's an interesting question to ask because it's not like A&M's going to run out of money. It's not like they can't pay the buyout. But people will stop. I haven't seen us go all electric yet.
That is true.
You know?
I don't want to gloss over the fact you're at Bluegill right now.
Yeah, dude. Can you just get some tuna dip and just like I can pretend that I'm there eating it with you?
Let's get a tray of oysters.
Oh,
some tuna dip.
Sounds like a deal.
All right. Well, Jack, we appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Cade in Idaho. Cade, what's going on?
Idaho, let's go.
Cade, Skyhook?
Hi, this is
There-
Cade.
Cade, what's up, buddy? That sounded like the start of a voicemail.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Good.
I'm a huge Boise State fan,
Okay.
and I'm looking at the Pac-12 just falling apart, and it's always been kind of the dream of Boise State fans that they go into a big
I love where
Power
this call's
5
heading.
conference.
Yeah, I love where it's heading. Say it. I know what you're going to say. Say it.
Should Boise State hold out and not go to the Pac-12?
Man, I was thinking about this. Cade, this is a great question. Number one, thanks for calling. I was thinking about this for San Diego State, too. Like, if you're looking around, it's like, all right, it's like the girl that was super hot in high school and popular and, like, didn't like you, but now all of a sudden, like, you have a good job and she doesn't look as good as she used to, and now she likes you. Like, but you're with a girl that you think you could see yourself with that you like, but do you do that? Go with her because, like, you always wanted to go with her in high school and it'd be like crazy redemption. Here's the thing, though. Where else do you go?
Well,
like,
could you stay independent and wait things out for a couple years?
But how much?
Real Kelly Clarkson situation.
How much? From a scheduling standpoint, though, if I'm looking at all these teams where we're adding conference games and teams are juicing up their conferences, right?
You'd miss out.
Like, how many teams are going to want to schedule a Boise State when you play a 9-game in-conference schedule in the Big Ten and the SEC and stuff like that? And the more teams that go to these conferences, the more conference games you're going to end up having to play because they're not going to add regular season games. Cade, here's what I'd say. If I'm Boise State right now and I'm looking at it, and the Pac-12 were to call me right now and say, we want you in, I got to go.
Right this second?
Right this second,
Even on
I
the
got to
cusp
go.
of Washington and Oregon possibly leaving?
Well, see, I think they already know. I think these people already know who's going
so
where.
you think Boise State they can just pick up the phone and say.
I think they know what's going on at Oregon. I think all these ADs talk. They've got a really good idea of what's going on. So, Cade, what do you think? Like right now, the Pac-12 calls you, Cade, this morning, and you're representing Boise State, and they say, listen, let's go just hang out and have ice cream and talk about the good old days.
I'm saying that at least the Mountain West has a TV deal, and they're not sitting on their hands.
Wow.
I mean,
Look, wait it out.
I don't think there's a wrong answer here, but now who'd have thought we'd have been in this situation where Boise State and the Mountain West is looking over the Pac-12 like, man, you guys is not good.
I don't like it. We didn't have to get to this point, but here we are.
I mean, it's not good. Cade, that's a great call, man. Please call
Thanks
in,
for calling,
my
man.
friend.
Call us on Friday. All right, Cody in Illinois. I don't know what time it is. Cody, what's going on, man?
Cody, how's he doing?
Who's ready to play? What year is it?
Oh, let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, so I'll be reading you guys 5 clues from a specific year. You're going to tell me what year it is, and once again, I will ask you guys not to use any electronic devices. All right, and I switched up the categories a little bit, and we'll hit that as we go. But I have a most valuable player, So Sammy Sosa won the NL MVP award with the Chicago Cubs. I have a first pick in a draft. The Los Angeles Clippers selected Michael Olowokandi with the first selection in the NBA draft.
Okay.
I have a farewell season, so this is a league star who played their last season. So Hall of Famer Pat LaFontaine played his final season with the New York Rangers.
Okay.
I have a new venue opening, which is a stadium or arena's first season. So Baltimore welcomed professional football back to the city with Ravens Stadium at Camden Yards, now known as M&T Bank Stadium.
Yep.
And the significant event in a 198 overtime victory over the New Jersey Nets, Michael Jordan scores 32 points in what was his 800th consecutive game of scoring in double figures.
Wow.
What year is it, fellas?
When was Jordan's last year?
All right. Is that necessarily his last year?
No, I just need to know just frame of reference.
I think 2003 with the Wizards.
Okay.
I mean, obviously the last one with the Bulls was 98.
Sammy said, why does this smell like 2001?
That's what it did to me too. But then I'm thinking, isn't that when Bonds hit so many home runs? Was he not the MVP? Was he not the MVP the year he hit all the home runs? He may not have been.
Had to be. He had to be.
But maybe that was the 2002 season.
See, that's
I kind of like 01 too. Somewhere between 98 and 01 to
I
me.
know. God.
What are you thinking over there?
Oh, is it 01?
The other ones don't really help me. I don't know when did the Ravens come back?
99 was my second. 99 was my second.
I think it's 99, isn't it?
Because think about here too, because Sosa would have been up against McGuire in the 98 home run chase,
I think it's
right?
99.
So the year after could make a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
I could get in board with anything from 98
good?
to 2001. I go 99.
Are we good? Everybody right here. Right here.
Let's do it.
Trust 99, 99. Trust tree right here.
1999.
1999.
All right. 1999 is your guys' final answer?
Yes.
All right. It is not 1999, but it is not over, guys. I have one last clue.
Because Jordan would
So
have
this
still
one's
been
a little
retired.
different today.
You blew it!
The final score. I have the final score of the Iron Bowl from the year in question.
Oh.
So we have 7-4 Alabama versus 3-8 Auburn.
Ugh.
Alabama won 31-17.
17. You guys.
Man, it's not.
See, 99. Jordan
Man,
would
is
have
it
been
97?
Retired, so that's why.
Is it 97? Hold on, Cody.
What? I don't know. What was the score?
31-17.
Bama
Auburn
won.
was 3-8. This was before Tuberville, right? Because Tuberville beat Bama 6 times. Remember, it's Fear the Thumb, right? Fear the Thumb. He beat them, was it 6 times in a row? 2004 went undefeated. Dude, I swear, man, I think it's 97.
It's either 97 or 98. So, I mean.
How are you feeling? You see if you can redeem yourself.
Oh, okay, good. Final answer, Trebek?
Final answer.
You mean 98?
1998.
All right. It is 1998.
Oh!
Wow, okay.
Man, we were so close.
So Sosa won.
Sammy Sosa won the MVP award over McGuire, who hit 70 home runs.
That's so weird to me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
that's why I
weird to
stayed
me as
away
well.
from that one.
Oh, Cody, that was a good one.
Won the MVP.
Man, that was a good
That
one.
home
You
run.
came prepared today,
That was
brother.
really solid, Cody.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right, and I do have you guys' QB10 update for Friday. I was hoping for a little more time today, but it is all right.
Yeah, we're running out. Hey, Friday's it's always the perfect time, right? On Flaming Dragon Friday.
Let us know.
Let us know
Friday, man. I'm going to ball out for you, Cody.
Believe.
Thanks, buddy. All right, 7:53.
Yep. Do we have? You want to
one more?
rapid fire? Just
Let's go. Ryan in Pennsylvania. You got 30 seconds.
30
man.
seconds, Ryan.
What
What's
you
up,
got,
man?
Ryan?
Okay. Hey, 2 things. The first one, I don't necessarily think that how you guys went about logically putting in Ohio State, that wouldn't work, because there was a similar. This is a couple calls ago, because there is precedent that was set in 2016 when Penn State won the head-to-head with Ohio State, and they ended up becoming the Big Ten champs.
Mm-hmm.
But then ultimately, Ohio State was put in over them.
That's
So
right. That's
this
BCS though, right?
is-
That's BCS though, right? Or not BCS?
No, that happened in 2016.
Yeah,
That was during the
2016.
playoffs.
That's right. Yep.
As a Penn State fan, I was very put off by that. But The second thing that I also have for you is I haven't really heard anyone paint this scenario. What happens? This is, I want your opinion on it. What happens if there are 4 11-1 teams in the Big Ten? So you have in the East the round robin where Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, they beat up on each other, they split it. But then out West, you also end up with Iowa at 11-1, and their only loss is to Penn State.
Well,
one of them would have to lose the Big Ten championship, or you could have, to get to that scenario even more complicated, is have someone like Iowa, or let's take, who does Wisconsin, because Wisconsin doesn't play.
They don't play Michigan.
One of them.
They play Ohio State at home.
Yeah. So either way you'd cut it, so that would get taken care of in the Big Ten championship.
So you'd have 3. Right? You could have 3 11-1 teams.
3.
But again, like here's a lot of it comes down to periphery and other conferences, right? And I think you got to start with the other top of the top. So what happens in the SEC, right? So if you have 3 11-1 teams coming out of the Big Ten, right, going in the Big Ten championship game, and then one of them wins it, that 12-1 team is going to the playoff, right? They are going. Then there's another 11-1 team. Then there's an 11-2 team, right? So the question now doesn't become about the 11-2 team. They're out with the 2 losses. It's the 12-1 team and the 11-1 team out of the Big Ten. So could you see a scenario where you have an SEC team, let's say Georgia runs the table, goes 12-0, they get in. Let's say they beat, just for example, LSU, all right, who has 1 loss because they lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game. Let's just say that. So LSU's 11-1. You have an 11-1 team in the Big Ten that didn't make the conference championship game. You have 2 12-0 teams, right? And then the Pac-12 champ is a 2-loss team. The ACC champ is a 2-loss team. The Big 12 champ is a 2-loss team. Could we have 2 Big Ten and 2 SEC?
Yeah, and that's what the other caller a couple times ago was talking about. Ryan, in that first year you mentioned in 2016, did Penn State go and lose the Big Ten championship game?
No, they came. It was great when they came from behind and they beat Wisconsin. So they won the division.
They won the division.
The conference, and they won their division. They won the conference, and they won the head-to-head at home against Ohio State. That was that Grant Haley blocked field goal.
So who'd they lose to?
They lost to Michigan in the beginning of the year. They started the season 2-2, and then they dropped one.
Lost in the West.
And then what ended up
to Pitt. Okay.
Yeah. And what ended up happening was they put in Ohio State, even though they had the head-to-head, they put them in, and then that's when they got pummeled by Clemson.
Yeah, 31-0.
You know what we're going to have to do maybe tomorrow or Friday? I don't know what to best say. Give me your craziest scenario that could happen.
I like it.
Playoff. We're going to have to do that because this has been so much fun. Ryan, thank you. Ryan,
thank you.
Ryan, thanks so much, man. Call in Friday.
Yep, everybody else too. Andrew's on the line, a couple other guys on the line. Y'all call in Friday.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. All right, Booster Club, real quick, Blaine, while I'm walking over here. I know we probably missed some donos.
Yeah, if I missed some donos and I can't get to them, I'm sorry. Hashtag not my fault. Let's go to Cole Frank, $5 donation. He says, LeBron is mid, MJ's the GOAT. I'm super excited. The Wild signed Philippe Gustafsson, a.k.a. the Gus Bus, for $11 million for 3 years. Love that. I feel like I got that name right. Peter with a $5 donation. Thank you, Peter. He said, Pete the Greek says, show me the love and give me an FSUW prediction. Love you guys, Peter.
Pete, love you,
love
bud.
you. Coffee Guy with a $2 donation. Is OU's recruiting board being overlooked?
Say it again.
Is OU's recruiting being overlooked?
Yes, because people for some reason don't like Brent Venables, but I think they may go 10-2 this year.
Calvin Tillman, $5 donation. It says, hit level 33 today, boys.
Congrats, Calvin.
Florida State love got me fired up on my birthday. Fear the Spear.
They're back.
Gonna be good, man.
AJ Bolden, big commitment Saturday. I'm going on a space, talking a lot of recruiting tonight at 8 o'clock on Twitter. Make sure you...
Another $2 dono from Coffee Guy says, TB said OU's recruiting was bad. They're number 6 in 2023.
Yeah, look at what the Florida are doing right now.
He did not have them in the top.
No, he did not have a
not at all.
Top.
If I missed your donation, sorry, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll try and figure out a way to read them tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe. By the way, Nathan F. Tink, congratulations on winning the month, my friend. Right, Nathan, for the Booster Club bets. Good friends with our boy, Revco, right?
Revy.
Yep, so congrats on winning that. I heard there may be a collab, there may be a video in the works that they're putting together.
Really?
Yeah, so if you think, we got college football coming up. If you're not doing your Booster Club bets, first off, come on, grow up. I put it on social media. The link's easy. We need to start linking it on the show somehow where they can see it. But yesterday, 8-0 from the crew.
Yeah,
What? What, 9-1 overall? Cercio went 9-1. If Ronald Acuna gets a hit, he hits like a plus 240 parlay. Let's keep that energy.
Good day
Let's
for
keep
the
that momentum
kids.
getting into football season. So, give me the Rays, Yankees, Garrett Cole, Shane McClanahan, Nerfy, minus 115. And then Kansas City, plus 1.5 at home against the Mets, who are big sellers. Nobody's believing. Cat Eye's gone. Verlander just took Kate Upton out. Everybody's 13 flavors are pissed about that. So give me the Royals plus 1.5 at plus 100. Can we get to 4-0?
All right.
Slow crawl.
I want to get in on the Yankees-Rays Nerfy with you. Bet Buds, minus 115. And then let's go Red Sox-Mariners Nerfy as well. No runs, first inning, minus 110.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Here we go. 2-0. Who cares? Not me. Give me Atlanta, money line, minus 150. Who are they playing?
They're playing
the Angels.
Yeah, you're not even a Braves fan, Dave. I don't need your answer. Jake, who are they playing?
They're playing the Angels.
They're playing the
Appreciate it, Jake.
Playing
Thank
the
you.
Angels.
All right, then give me Seattle, money line, minus 130. 2-0 plus 2 units on the month. I think we should end it right here. We can all do a speech together.
Yeah, we should call it. We should call it right here.
Combined
together. It can be like a cappella.
Give me an ensemble situation.
Bump. Oh.
Hey, we are one.
You already
sounded terrible.
Then Ace goes. He's going to go Twins money line minus 130. Then he's going to take Cohn's favorite team, the Rangers, for Shapiro's favorite team, the White Sox, in a Nerfy that everybody's screaming about at minus 115. Poll.
Who was a bigger pickup in the trade deadline?
They're going Scherzer or Verlander?
All right. Scherzer, Verlander, or the Grim Reaper from Russia?
Scherzer.
I'm just kidding. Scherzer or Verlander?
Oh, I'm gonna say they said Verlander, 62%.
Scherzer barely, 51%.
But Justin Verlander, 51%.
Good.
Max Scherzer, 49%.
That's Bishop Club's smart, man. They're smart. I eked that one out. You didn't price is right me. Well, we appreciate you guys. Great call-ins. We got call-ins again Friday. Got a great show for you tomorrow. Thanks to Timmy B. We're going to be posting this all over social media. I'm sure, like I said, everybody's having just a normal and very reserved and rational, let's take a step back and, look in the sky and think about it reaction to it, especially Texas and Tennessee fans. Can't wait and Alabama fans. Lose so.
Oh, yeah, such a bad year. You're number 6 in the top 10 poll.
I wanted Hall cans. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you catch us live if you can.
Road to 100K.
Yeah, we're getting close to 100,000, boys. And we should get to 200 by the end of football season. We'll do the little engine that could type situation over here. And like the chances of Texas fans not being pissed at Tim Brando about basically anything, we're going. Gone.